Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of TV 30 101. And today, part 3 and our final part was Stan Clark. We've had a chance to talk to Stan about his childhood. We talked to him about coming to Stillwater. What made him open Eskimo Joe's? How did his family react to, I'm opening up a bar? And did they like that opportunity? Lots of conversation with Stan already. This week, we want to talk about the business. We want to talk more about Mexico Joe's. We want to talk about whether that was a good decision initially. All of those things coming up. But first, we're going to talk about Stan Clark, the family side. How did he meet his wife? How did he meet Shannon? Having kids, how has that changed him? Here's more with Stan Clark.
It was a great time. So I want to go back. Okay, so when I came here in 1990 as a college student, of course I went to Eskimo Joe's. Actually, I didn't go to Eskimo Joe's. Because I was 20 at the time,
Yeah.
so I couldn't get into Eskimo Joe's. Turned 21, I found myself in Eskimo Joe's some. Started working in radio, doing some of those things, and of course, as you're doing that, and start working in a community, you start getting to know people, and people know people, and I'm sitting there, and so everybody goes, oh, there's Stan Clark. I'm like, well, who's Stan Clark? I don't know who Stan Clark is. Who's Stan Clark? Well, that's the owner of the bar. That's Joe. That's Mr. Joe. I'm like, holy smokes. So I remember watching from afar, just seeing you coming and going and doing your thing. Then I remember not too far from that, and you'll tell me the time, I'm sure, exactly. But I remember someone saying, well, you see that waitress right there? She and Stan are dating. Oh, she's a cute girl. And oh, they're dating? Oh, really? And then you go, okay, well, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what somebody tells me at the time. And then over the years, it's like, well, she seems to be a little closer, and they seem to be a little more together, and so that seems like that's true. There was a young lady by the name of Shannon, right?
Right,
That used to work at Eskimo Joe's.
We met at Eskimo Joe's, that's correct.
And she was a server there at one time, and which, I mean, how many people in our community haven't been a server at Joe's at some point, right? Talk about that. How did that go, and you know, you talked about being fun, enjoying the hosting the party.
Right.
How hard was it to get Stan Clark to settle down? How did that all transpire?
Well, it's an excellent storyline, certainly. You know, we met right there at Eskimo Joe's. Actually, Shannon's older sister, Sandy, was working there before Shannon was. So once I met Shannon and realized she was Sandra's sister, I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. And, you know, obviously, just attraction was there, and we just started dating. We dated for a long, long time and got married in '95, and you know, I have 3 beautiful kids now. So it's just been an absolute wonderful love story, and I couldn't be more happy about it. There's no question that it settled me down, and probably the greatest thing that ever happened to me, without a doubt.
So what year was that? What year did you guys meet? You remember?
Well, let's.
Oh, about Shannon. I know Shannon. He's about to be in trouble. I like this.
Let's see.
Married in '95, you said.
Yeah,
so you
I
dated
would- I
5
think-
years,
I think-
4 or 5 years?
I think we probably met in '89. Yeah.
89. So you dated for a long time then.
Yeah,
so
we did. We did. It was fall of '89. It was right before Shannon turned 21.
So obviously, when I
That's what
came
it
in
was.
'90 and they said that, they were right, and that was who you dated.
Yeah.
Again, though, you've got this big business. You've got. I mean, again, you kind of got the world. You're the single man. I mean, was family and kids, was that always in the cards, or did you go, okay, I had to really fall hard before I realized that's what I wanted?
Well, I absolutely fell in love with Shannon. There's no doubt about that, and so that part was set. Even after we married, you know, I wasn't as eager for kids as she was, but I knew when we married we were going to have kids. So we didn't have kids immediately, and Shannon completed her education at the College of Ed and taught here in Stillwater for a few years at Highland Park, and she loved that, and I think there's still some of her most fond memories. And you know, one of her favorite students, as a matter of fact, Jessie, was my wife teaches critter club out at Sunnybrook some Sundays, and on the off Sundays, Jesse's wife is one of the ones that teaches. And so I just realized that Jesse was one of the ones that Shannon talked about all the time. It's one of her favorites as a first grader.
Yeah.
So that was a rich story and experience just this past Sunday morning. But at any rate, you know, it was just wonderful. And then we decided it was time, and we were gonna have kids. And
have you tried TS Fork yet? They have great meals being served weekly on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. But I want to tell you about their incredible Sunday lunches. Every Sunday from 11 to 2, you can drop in at TS Fork at White Barn Estates for a lunch like Grandma used to make. The menu changes weekly, but it includes selections like fried chicken, roast beef, meatloaf, and all the fixins'. No reservations needed, special pricing for kids, and a great home-cooked meal at TS Fork. And while you're there, check out the gift shop with made-in-Oklahoma products and items you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at tsfork.com.
Neighbors, friends, the people we see every day. We come to you today with no news or announcement, but to let you know what's on our hearts. Because quite simply, we feel honored. You're the reason that what we do is so much more meaningful than a job. The reason we believe in the power of investing in tomorrow. But you're also the reason we believe in the power of sharing the same neighborhoods and a loyalty that's bigger than any challenge. So this is simply thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to move forward and grow, but never lose sight of the roots that connect us. As we step boldly into a time of change and innovation, consider this our promise that every investment in our hospital is an investment in our communities. Because you're the reason we love what we do and love where we live.
The McCafe is now featuring cold brew coffee and cold brew frappes. Face the day with a cold brew coffee from the McCafe with a rich cold brew coffee blended with ice for a creamy frozen drink that's colder than cold brew. Or refresh with a cold creamy frappe. We start with a cold brew coffee, blended ice, and topped with whipped cream and rich chocolate drizzle for a great anytime frozen treat. McDonald's in Stillwater, Perkins, Perry, and Cushing. I'm loving it. Kent and Barbara Houck have been saying they're a one-stop shop for many years. In 1951, the Houck Agency began insuring Oklahomans and since has expanded to insure people in 11 states across the country. The Houck Agency can find the policy that fits your needs from business health coverage, individual health, home, auto, and long-term health care policies. They have a staff that can take care of financial planning, including retirement and investing. And Barbara Houck has been a realtor for over 35 years, and her contacts helped her buy and sell homes and commercial properties across the state. One-stop shop, the Houck Agency, 801 South Main in Stillwater. Call statewide toll-free at 800-543-8588. The Houck Agency, when experience counts.
Well, we have changed locations from the incredible Eskimo Joe's. We have moved now to Mexico Joe's. Mexico Joe's, was it always an instant success? Was this beautiful building a part of the plan initially? And how did it come to be? More on that in just a little bit. But first, we want to talk about some things that Stan Clark has been a part of for a long time, including the Juke Joint Classic and just, in general, the Joe's philosophy.
3 kids, twins,
Yes.
and another.
yes, sir.
I know what kids did to me, seeing those kids born, and I know when you see kids what they do for you. What about for you? How did that change Stan Clark?
Oh, seeing the first child born was most amazing. That's just amazing. You know, there's just nothing that even comes close. So, yeah, that definitely changed everything.
Yeah.
And just, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Our first child is McGuire. Very unusual name. I love that name. I think it's beautiful. McGuire Isabella. And obviously a young lady, and just a beautiful one at that. And now 16, sophomore at Stillwater High School, and an oboist. She plays the oboe, and she's in color guard now, so she enjoys that, and just delightful young lady. And a couple of years later, we were blessed with twins, and Gabriella and Hudson, and they're just the apple of our eye. And, you know, constant focus now.
And so I'm curious when, again, you've had a child, you probably think, well, we'll have a couple and we'll be done. And you find out the next are twins. What was that news like for you?
Well, it was really pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Shannon had already quit teaching to just be a full-time mom. So she was going to be a full-time mom one way or the other. So, it was always, of course, it's wow. But but we kind of took that in stride, but hey, 1 to 3, that's a big change.
Yes, it is. And I've
change.
obviously gotten to know Hudson. Hudson has been in the youth group that I get a chance to help with. A fantastic young man. And you know what? It's fun to watch you. I see him more than your other two kiddos. But he's playing football or he's doing other things. And stands, you're just dad in the stands supporting him and whatever, and all your kids and whatever they do, right?
Absolutely. I mean, my gosh, there's just nothing like it. And obviously that window of opportunity is going to be short. And I mean, I can't believe McGuire's driving, and I can't believe she's already in high school. Holy cow! It's just a blink. It's a blur.
It is amazing. When and I want to talk a little bit about faith, and I don't know how comfortable you are talking about your faith, but I've gotten to know you more so in the last 18 months because you and I share a small group together, and I've seen your walk. I know what my walk is, and hopefully both of us are getting deeper in our walk every day, right? But I'm just curious, between marriage and kids, what has that done for you? What has that done for you to go, wow? I mean, I love my business, and I love business, and I love people. But, boy, there's a lot more to this whole thing. And I know that's what kids did for me. Same thing for you? How did they help you start seeking maybe a deeper walk?
Yeah, well, I think it's just all kind of a natural progression. It definitely has changed me, without a doubt, that family is just, they're just first and foremost, and everything that you're doing, even in the work side of things, it's all about them, and so it's changed a lot. But the faith walk has become just more and more and more and more, and I hope that it will just continue to grow and be even more central. I'm certainly still learning, and absolutely still growing in that area of life, but there's nothing like it, and I think the family was really the impetus to our getting more engaged in that process, in that part of our lives, to really bring the spiritual part more into balance. In all candor, had been somewhat neglected really since I left my parents' home until Shannon and I married, and then even more so after the children began to come along. We felt it very important that they were raised in a Christian home, and that the faith piece became a little more central to who we are, and the way we try to live our lives, and the example we're trying to set for our kids.
Well, and obviously that is evident. It's been awesome to watch. So I want to go back to a little more secular conversation than that. Obviously, that's a deep part. But honestly, Stan, I mean, I can throw out names that have a lot more national familiarity. I can throw out Garth Brooks. I can throw out an Eddie Sutton. I can throw out a number of names, Big Country, just different guys. But you truly are a huge part of the fabric of the last 50 years here. Do you think of it that way? Do you? Is that too much to ask a person to go, yeah, I see what you're saying?
Well, thank you. It's a nice thing that you said. I don't look at myself that way at all, to be honest. Just a regular feller, going to work every day, but I do love the opportunity to be a part of the community, and we've been very involved in so many things. Just a little dab of success will allow one to be a part and maybe to give something back. The first thing that we were able to kind of do that made a little bit of that kind of a statement probably was taking on the title sponsorship of the Juke Joint Jog. This coming fall will be the 32nd annual Juke Joint Jog, a fundraiser for the Stillwater Area United Way. So that's exciting. Back when we got the title sponsorship of that, I told our then director, Shelley Hartman, I said, Shelley, if that golf tournament you do ever comes available, that's my passion. I'd love to sponsor the golf tournament. So I'm pretty sure in May this will be our 21st United Way Golf Classic. So, those kinds of things are fun to do. Just to get to be a part, to contribute something, to have a chance to maybe make a difference, just to serve others. It's all so important. And I tell you, it's not only rewarding for me and uplifting to me, it's a high honor, it's a blessing, whatever you want to say. It's very important to all the folks that are working at our company as well. And so for, like John Killam just last week, 34 years with me. Robert Williams just got a 35-year award from our company. Jim Owens has worked for us for 40 years last year.
Wow.
So, Laura Demery's in 30-plus territory now. So there are several people that have really been a part of our organization for such a long time, a lifetime. And so it's those folks that have made all of this work and made all of this possible. And I can just credit our people with everything that we've ever become or had the opportunity to enjoy at whatever level of success. It really all boils down to our folks interacting with our customers. And we always say every opportunity to serve our guests, our mission is to delight every guest by giving my best. We wrote it in first person on purpose because we want our young people to read it and to own it. I always say, act like you own the place. What would I do, That's how well I want you to treat people, because that's, every time we interact with the customer, we're either building our brand or we're tearing it down. There's really no in between. A bad attitude, an attitude of indifference, we can lose a customer that would have been a customer for life. And so that's a really big deal, and we work on that all day, every day.
Well, and obviously, again, Joe's is truly a part of the fabric, not just yourself, but the Eskimo Joe's in general.
Since 1957, the Hideaway has been a staple in Stillwater. Times may have changed since the Hideaway originally opened, but the great pizza and friendly atmosphere has never wavered. Stop in at 230 South Knobloch Street and try one of our specialty pizzas, including the Paradise Pie with Alfredo sauce, chicken, bacon, mushroom, spinach, and fresh tomato. Or for those meat lovers, check out the Big Country, featuring pepperoni, bacon, Italian sausage, Canadian bacon, and cheddar cheese. And for a starter, try the famous fried mushrooms. The Hideaway. Dine in or call 372-4777 for takeout or delivery.
Whether you're looking for a small concert venue like the Bob Childers Gypsy Cafe or
a big stage at the Tumbleweeds Calf Fry Festival, America's friendliest college town is going to be rocking this May.
where the flowers are waving,
And the music will get you swaying
enjoy a concert in the garden.
right here at the Botanic Garden at OSU.
We can't wait to welcome over 5,000 Olympic athletes competing in 9 events and swinging
For the gold!
Support local farmers, learn about seasonal produce, and discover new fruits and veggies at the Stillwater Farmers Market located at the Prairie Arts Center. Check out the real professionals at the Aggie Cattle Dog Show at the Payne County Expo Center.
How can you celebrate National Tourism Week? Pick one of the 3 round-trip flights through Stillwater Regional Airport at flystillwaterok.com. Don't miss a beat in America's friendliest college town. Check out our full listing of events at visitstillwater.org.
Kent and Barbara Houck have been saying they're a one-stop shop for many years. In 1951, the Houck Agency began insuring Oklahomans and since has expanded to insure people in 11 states across the country. The Houck Agency can find the policy that fits your needs, from business health coverage, individual health, home, auto, and long-term health care policies. They have a staff that can take care of financial planning, including retirement and investing. And Barbara Houck has been a realtor for over 35 years, and her contacts helped her buy and sell homes and commercial properties across the state. One-stop shop, the Houck Agency, 801 South Main in Stillwater. Call statewide toll-free at 800-543-8588. The Houck Agency, when experience counts.
Welcome back for the final time with our interview series with Stan Clark. It has been a lot of fun. We've got to know Stan Clark, the businessman, Stan Clark, the personal man. We've learned about how this whole thing came to be. And our final conversation with Stan includes conversation about, will there ever be a third Amigo again? Were any of these successes overnight successes? And of all the things Stan's got to do, some of the incredible things he's done and the people he's met, who would be somebody that might stand out?
So, you still talk to Steve?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Steve is still a friend. Oh, he loves to kid himself, but I tell you what, back when I bought him out, when no one knew for sure who had made the better choice, that's for sure. It's still a really, really small business. So, sure he likes to kid himself when there's, 15,000 people out in front of the place or something like that, or on a game day, but no, I don't think he has any regrets, it was just where we each were, at that point in our lives. Still very, very young.
You have met a ton of people. I mean, you've met a ton of dignitaries. You've met a ton of sports figures. You guys have been featured all over the world. Obviously, your shirts have been photographed all over the world. What about a meeting? What about somebody that maybe we didn't that you go back and you go, man, having the opportunity to spend a little time with that person was really, really cool.
Wow, that's a really good question. We have had the joy of meeting so many different people at various times. One time I went to the National Restaurant Show in Chicago, and I got to hear Colin Powell speak. And boy, I'll never forget. Just really a moving presentation, and some comments about leadership that really stuck. I got to go see President Bush, 41, down in Oklahoma City one time, and that guy really impressed me. Lou Holtz spoke at an OSU event once, and boy, did he have a great life story, not just coaching, but life story and leadership lessons. So, I think about events like that. Almost all of the entertainers that ever came for Orange Peel, the students always brought them to Joe's. Yeah. So I met guys like David Spade and Sinbad and some guys like that. I'm not real sure that meeting me meant anything to them, but it was exciting at the time. But it's, I don't know. You know what? Every guest that comes through the door is very special to me.
There's the marketing stand that we know right there. Let's wrap up with a couple of quick questions. One, when you put your name on something, a lot of people will assume that it's going to be a huge success. You said something once before, and I'm not sure this is completely public. I'm just hoping it is. Mexico Joe's was nearly the end of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I see Mexico Joe's today, and I've told you this. My grandfather lived in Roland, Oklahoma, and when he came to see me in Stillwater, Oklahoma, we were going to Mexico Joe's. It's his favorite place to eat. But it wasn't an instant success. Everything's not always that easy, is it?
No, believe me, it's not. Now, honestly, from our guest's perspective, I hope it looks like it's simple. Because, no one's coming to our place out of sympathy.
Sure.
People want to go where it's fun, where it's happening, and I get that. We only deserve it if we own it, and that means we're giving you great service and a great product, and I get that. But you're right, I have shared the story. When we first opened Mexico Joe's in the fall of '87, I beg your pardon. That's right. In the spring of '87, we had started Stillwater Bay behind Cowboy Mall, little bitty facility. It had been the bar ditch, and it had been a place called Mother Night, and some other things. And Stillwater Bay was an overnight success. Just boom, took off right out of the chute. We moved Stillwater Bay downtown on December 30th of 1986. And then in the following spring, in April, first week of April in '87, we opened Mexico Joe's. And I was a little undercapitalized. I really felt pressure. And we opened too soon. we didn't have enough people that were well enough trained, and we did a pretty lousy job for a lot of people that came to see our new concept. And so through the summer of '87, we actually really were bleeding cash. It was a rough go. And interestingly, in the fall of '87, I was able to get a lease on the grocery store next door to Joe's, the Andy's Grocery Building, and we plugged in what we called Joe's Clothes World Headquarters. And we had a really nice uptick in our shirt and soft goods business by moving it into a retail space where someone could actually walk in and see what we had. You know, before that, everything was sold over the bar. So thankfully, really, Joe's Clothes propped up the whole company at that point and allowed me to get through '87. In 1988, we completely turned it around. We broke even, which was a huge, huge improvement. Robert Williams, our director of restaurant operations, gets a huge amount of credit for that. I really credit him for that entire turnaround. He was the kitchen manager. He became the general manager and kitchen manager. And he just came out front and explained to people why that was the best Mexican food they'd ever eaten, because he knew every recipe from the ground up, and it was a great product. There was no doubt about it. Always was, but you know, there's a lot more to it than just the recipes. And we began to, you know, we got everybody up to speed, and we had everybody trained up, and so that turnaround in '88 was really, really a big deal, and just such a huge lesson, you know. Again, it's never been just a straight line, just overnight success, and, you know, but honestly, that's kind of what you want the public to see, you know, because it's not their problem.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to pick their favorite places, as well they should, and you know, this capitalist country that we live in, it's the greatest system in the world, and I'm all about it. But hey, I realize I got to earn it, man. You know, nobody's going to give it to you.
Well, especially in Stillwater today compared to 40 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many more places now here. This place has grown so much. I'm curious, you know, again, obviously, it's funny because I still hear people say, man, I wish the Bay was open. I wish this was open. And that was obviously Mojo's recently and Giuseppe's. I'm curious, will there ever be a third part of the Three Amigos again?
I'll tell you what, right now, I don't see that window, or that I don't have that calling. You know, I'm not itching to try another concept. You know,
would the young Stan have done that? Would this 40 years ago Stan said, yeah, we gotta be Three Amigos?
Well, you know, I have given it the old college try. Stillwater Bay was around for 20 and a half years. Giuseppe's was around for 13 years.
Wow.
And Mojo's for about 2.5 years, you know, but you just kind of commented on it. I mean, the market conditions are pretty competitive right now, and I just don't really think that I don't think we're going to try it again.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Kids interested in taking over?
Well, I don't know. We'll just have to see. I've not pushed that agenda at all at this point, but clearly they know what their dad does for a living, and if they have the inkling and if they really want it, then I would be very open to that, and we'll just have to see how that plays out.
I've known of you or known you for 28 years. I'll close with this. You know, in seeing you all those years as the guy who owned Eskimo Joe's, the place that I would frequent on Saturday nights, or eat through the week, didn't really know you. As I got to know you, I was doing cowgirl basketball. You would say, "Hey, I listened to you on the radio last night. Listen to that game, man. What a great game." Got to know you that way. Now, obviously, you and I are, as I said earlier, in a small group together. The thing that probably surprised me the most, and this is probably not good, but it did surprise me the most because I just didn't know you. You're a kind man. You're a very, and not that I didn't think you weren't kind, but you really are a kind guy. Is that what people? Is that what you want people to think of you? Is that truly just who you are? You have a servant's heart.
Well, thank you. You know, to me, that's what we tell our kids all the time. You know, we care more about how they treat others, you know, and the kind of citizen they are, more than what their grades are. You know, as long as you're you know, doing the right things by others, and you know, obviously being polite and doing the things you need to get along, that means everything. So thank you. I mean, that's the ultimate compliment. You know, that's hey, I'm just a guy, you know, and I want to be a good guy, and I am a caring person, and I'm just just been lucky, and that's all there is to it. And so I want to do all the good I can for as many as I can.
Congratulations on the success.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoyed it, brother.
Hey, this was good fun. Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
Thank you.
You're out of the hot seat now. You're finally quit asking all those tough questions.